I don't love Boss Monster. I mean, I should. I've been smashing Goombas, collecting crystals, and figuring out my Robot Master route since the 80s, and I love linear mechanical game operations in systems like tower defense. But when it originally hit the scene in 2013, I checked it out and it just felt a little too dependent on luck. Too few choices were being made. It was more theme than it was game, which is fine, but it just kind of hovered on the periphery of TCbH interest until just recently I happened upon a design diary on the BGG landing page for Super Boss Monster, stating that it was time for Brotherwise Games to reevaluate the system, staying true to its roots and promising full backwards compatibility while trying to give a more gamified and modern platform that would bring the system into its current day. And that piqued my interest, which brings us to this video. Super Boss Monster is, in essence, a drafting game. Each turn, heroes arrive in town, then players take turns placing a worker at an available space for a boon and drafting a room or one-time use spell cards for their hand. Then build a room on their dungeon, either extending the route or overlaying a room potentially with enhanced effects. From there, heroes are attracted to each player's dungeon based on who has the most of their desired loot, with ties resulting in heroes hanging out in town, blocking action spaces, and growing more powerful. Once players have their heroes, like meat in a packing plant, you process. One at a time, they are subjected to each room in sequence, where if they suffer enough cumulative damage, their soul, aka points, are collected. However, if they make it to you, your boss card acting as your avatar and conferring a unique minor power activated once you built your 5th room, you take damage, aka negative points. When everyone has processed their heroes, the round ends, repeat until someone has 10 souls, or the well of initially small but eventually more powerful epic heroes dries up. The player with the most points by way of souls minus damage wins. And that's mainly it. I mean, there is some subtlety in how you arrange your rooms, what extra cards you pick up, the spells that you cast on your dungeon or your opponent's dungeon to help yourself or hinder them, or forcibly obtain heroes outside of your loot suit from the locations they pile up in town, and the risks associated with grabbing them at higher health values. But at its core, it's still Boss Monster, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The chief objective in Super Boss Monster was to preserve the game's identity and offer full backwards compatibility to all prior content, which means rooms and heroes and all kinds of stuff from a massive amount of prior releases, while still giving a little bit more stability in how players obtain new cards, obtain heroes, and a little bit more interaction with one another and the game system itself. And in that regard, it's successful. I just can't help but wish that it went a little bit further. Boss Monster is such a cool concept, and the theme comes out in spades, but the opportunity in releasing a new version, Super Boss Monster, could have really embraced the inspiring jump from NES to SNES. We could have had a massive expansion on the capabilities while honoring, though not fully beholden to, the past. Like asymmetric powers from the get-go, more nuanced relationships between rooms, heroes with more dynamic abilities or behaviors, more interesting consequences for your actions. The foundation is all here, but only if you're willing to let go of the past and build for the future. Which, I get it. Video games are a different model, and I'm sure Brotherwise didn't want two games competing with themselves, but as the end user who is more or less happy that this is the best version of Boss Monster you can buy, I still can't help but feel that there is a different game in an alternate universe that I'd much rather play. As it stands, Super Boss Monster is a smart compromise, both being the best entry point into the series, period, and about as good of a reimagining of the whole system that can be if you're also trying to promise full compatibility with all prior content at the same time. It also has some native solo support, which is extremely welcome, with default and challenge modes going so far as having a separate side of the board dedicated to playing solitaire, which is really nice. So if you're just looking for some 8 or 16-bit nostalgia, you enjoy drafting games, or you have always wanted to like Boss Monster, but you just needed a little bit more zhuzhing to the system, just a little bit more to offer it some stability and a few more choices, then Super Boss Monster is likely to do it for you. However, if you're looking for something that offers the same theme but is significantly more dynamic or offers more rich strategic complexity, then your prince or princess is likely to be in another castle. And that's our review, but let me know, what do you think of Boss Monster, Super Boss Monster, this whole endeavor, and what is your favorite 8 or 16 or 32-bit, we'll go as far as 64-bit game of all time? Put it in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, thanks for being such an awesome community. You know that I've been Jack for the Super Boss Monster, Cardboard Herald.